Hello and welcome back, Smiley Folk. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a reaction. And now I chose to do a reaction today because there are some topics that you can only ever cover if you're watching it unfold for yourself. And today's topic is one of those topics because we're going to be talking about the dating dynamics of the current generation. Okay. And the only way, and I mean the only way, that we'll be able to speak about what is currently unfolding in society is if we hear it from the mouth of people currently in the dating culture. And so without further ado, let's get started on this video. Today we have Mindfully Delusional podcast. They are going to be bouncing around questions about what it's like to be courting in today's day and age. Let's begin.
Question for everybody in this room. Who has it harder in the dating scene right now? Men or women?
So this is the first question. Who has it harder in today's dating scene? Is it men or is it women? Let's see what their responses are.
Women.
Women.
Thank you. What
It's terrible out here.
So, don't worry about what anyone says. Do not be influenced.
I think it's equally hard.
That's a good answer.
I think it's equally hard
Why?
because we're being pitted against each other and people are falling for it.
That's
Okay.
a great answer,
Actually,
bro.
I love that answer.
We're being
great
pitted against black men and women are being pitted against each other.
That is a
And
great
we're
answer,
falling
bro.
for it.
Okay, how?
Well, let's talk about the argument that really pisses me off all the time.
Okay, let's unpack that first. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this discussion, it's important to understand that we are going to be analyzing this through a spiritual lens. And in analyzing what he just said through a spiritual lens, we understand why the climate is so centered around making men and women hate each other. If you analyze it spiritually, you understand that one of the first problems that humanity faced was a lack of companionship. And it was for this reason that God said, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper." God was able to see that man needed somebody to complement him, and therefore he made woman. And it's through seeing this that we understand why the enemy attacks relationships in the way in which he attacks them, why he is so aggressive in attacking the dynamic with a man and a woman in a relationship. Because in doing so, he fundamentally crumbles one of the greatest tasks that any of us have been tasked with, which is being in community and in fellowship with one another. It's one of our greatest strengths. And in attacking the relationship, he makes sure that there are no elders to teach men and women of the future how to be husbands and wives. He makes sure there's no community in the first place, because how can you have a solid community if people do not want to be together? If you're telling women that they shouldn't want to get married or that they shouldn't want to have kids, and you're telling men that they shouldn't want to get married and that they shouldn't want to have kids, if you tell them this, they will go childless. They will not want to have a family or get married. So in pushing out this rhetoric, you make sure that communities are never fostered, that they're never even built in the first place, and that they're ultimately doomed. You're dooming humanity to complete isolation. The enemy knows that when he gets you alone, when he gets you outside of community, when he gets you outside of fellowship and connection, that you're vulnerable. So when you're noticing more and more rhetoric that's anti-men or anti-women in society, understand what the enemy is trying to do. Understand the play that he is currently playing, and that he's trying to poison people's minds against fellowship, against community, against relationships.
We're being pitted against each other and people are falling for it.
That's a
Okay.
great answer,
Actually,
bro.
I love that answer.
We're being
great
pitted against black men and women are being pitted against each other.
That is a
And
great
we're
answer,
falling
bro.
for it.
Okay, how?
Well, let's talk about the argument that really pisses me off all the time. The 50-50 argument.
Oh,
We black people, we do not have the economic standing of white people. So we're going to have to help each other out.
Talk your shit,
That's
big
how you
dog.
We have to.
Talk
Yeah,
your
no,
shit.
no, that's the
Ignore her.
truth.
Ignore her. She's trying to get you off your shit. Keep it
Nah,
going,
she
bro.
could go with that.
Stay focused.
We do not have the economic standing of white people. So
Some
why are we
may not.
why are we hiring ourselves to their standards?
Why is it?
This 50-50 debate comes from not knowing what God has called over men and called over women. What he says works best. A lot of these blurry lines, they will be eliminated if you just paid attention to scripture. If you read Ephesians 5 or Proverbs 31, then you'll be able to understand that a woman is not somebody who's solely supposed to cook and clean. And a man is not somebody who's solely supposed to provide financially. That though they are both tasked with doing these things, they are so much more than that. This 50-50 debate comes from the concept of money. It's not even taking into account the spiritual state of things. If you look at scripture, you'll be able to understand very clearly what it truly means to be a man of God presiding over a house, providing for a house, and a woman of God nurturing up that home. It's so much more than just providing. It's so much more than just cooking and cleaning. It is so much more complex. But for all of its complexities, it is perfect. It is perfect. Perfectly allocated for man and for woman. Skip all this 50-50 by reading your word.
There is no, oh, I'm gonna get taken care of by this dude all the time. No, we're not. No black man can do that.
So
No black man.
Wait a minute.
Unless he
Hold
in the
on.
1%.
Bro, if you ain't got no money, just say that.
It's not only about money though.
It's not. It's not.
No, that's why I said let him land, because at the end he said only if he's in that 1%. He said if he's in that top tier man, which is what I alluded to earlier.
And if you're shooting for that, ain't none of them is going to be faithful to you. Ain't none of them going to hold you down like you think they are. Because guess what? I worked my way up to this, and you think I'm just going to share it with you?
I want you to pay close attention. When you smell fire, don't question it. Escape. A lot of the time, many women of God and men of God will fall into the wrong relationships because they'll see attributes unbecoming of the type of life they're called to live, and they don't run. If you see somebody speak like this, think like this, don't teeter-totter. Get away. I always tell people this. I say, you would never have to see your partner be a cheater if you had have left them back when they called you out of your name. And don't let that go over your head. But the majority of the time, people are exhibiting these characteristics of having serious moral depravity, and we do nothing. If you have somebody who thinks like this, in this transactional way where everything they do is, you're going to give me this back, be careful. This isn't the merciful serving God that we serve, presenting themselves inside of this person. Now, I'm not going to speak to a person's salvation, but what I will speak to is my willingness to put myself in harm's way. So if you see these types of mannerisms, choose to see them for what they are and remove yourself.
Accountability. When you see a woman, and I'm sorry, I love you all, but I'm about to say it because Lauren told me to keep it real.
Don't apologize.
If we're in a situation where you look at a woman, she's attractive, she's fine, she got her together, and she's single, there is a reason that there's not a nigga there. And 99.9% of the time, that reason is self-inflicted. Now they will find a bunch. Can I land? Can I land? Most of the time, it's because of term like respectfully, niggas ain't.
Yep.
It's respectfully, because instead of saying niggas ain't, why am I meeting niggas that ain't? Why are you in these situations always where these niggas don't call you back?
I agree with that.
Why are you always in these situations where these guys are intimate with you?
Yeah.
And it doesn't end up going the way you want to go?
Yeah.
Right.
Why haven't you got that guy yet?
That's a good. This is.
I'm talking when we get past 30, we get 35, we get 40, we get.
Biblically speaking, you should be thinking from this perspective. Like, why are things transpiring in the manner in which they are transpiring? Don't get me wrong, people can definitely be very deceptive, and they can try and lie to you. They can try and manipulate you. They can try to mistreat you. But a lot of the time, many of these situations can be averted with simple scripture and discernment. A lot of people go into relationships willy-nilly. They feel that they like somebody and they just go headfirst into it. But how about you first get on your hands and knees and pray about it? How about you bring it before the Lord? How about you ask him to intercede? Say, God, I'm not trying to enter into anything that your hands are not on. So you got to let me know if this is where you want me to be. Is this the person you want me to be with? But people are not doing that. And then you turn around and you wonder why your heart is broken. Because you're going after things that God doesn't have his hands in, that God hasn't written your name on. So you really do need to take time and to analyze why things are going awry in the dating culture as a whole, but specifically your dating life. Why? Why is it going awry? And if you take that time to really analyze on a spiritual level why things are transpiring in the manner in which they are, you'll have a lot more favorable answers and a lot more favorable outcomes. You won't be in this mist of confusion that many people are in dating, where they are playing Russian roulette with their lives, Russian roulette with their peace, guesstimating on whether or not somebody is good enough. No, go back to the word. Go back to prayer.
Last question. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I should ask this. What is the one thing that you think the opposite sex needs to change?
That's a very good question. It's my turn first? I think that the number one thing that the opposite sex needs to change, two things. Accountability, like we talked about, and the willingness to accept the fact that maybe your man is on a journey to become something better. Stop trying to have him be a finished product when you meet him. Yeah. So it's like he might not be the best leader now. Talk to him, encourage him, and be his number one fan in hopes that one day he can become that. So it's like
the thing right now is you got to come.
See, this is a very dangerous ideology that this man just spoke of. Whether it's a man or it's a woman, this idea that you're supposed to build them up. While it is true that you are going to have a lot of growing in a marriage, you're going to have a lot of growing in a relationship. It's just life. It constantly evolves. You'll have continuous situations that'll teach you more about each other, that'll teach you more about the world. Yes, but there is a certain standard that your partner should be coming with, and that standard aligns with scripture. There's a certain heart posture. They may not be looking the way you want them to look yet. They may not have the financial situation, the physical circumstances presently, but there needs to be a certain heart posture that you are analyzing. So while it is true that you are supposed to build with your partner, yes, of course, do not confuse that with needing to teach them the fundamentals of respect, needing to teach them the fundamentals of wisdom, needing to teach them the fundamentals of being obedient to God, especially if you are a woman, and you are supposed to be finding a man who is a leader. He needs to have certain attributes already, and he needs to already come with obedience to God. So yes, be willing to work, be willing to build, but just know that the fundamentals should already come ingrained within your partner. All right, that's where we're going to stop for today's video. Today we got to analyze some of the conversations that are going on in today's current dating culture and how to approach these conversations from a biblical perspective. Now, this is a very long video, so of course I didn't get into each and every single thing that was said. So I encourage you to go and watch the video for yourself. I will link it down below. But we did get a little bit of a deep dive into the roles that this current dating culture plays within our society and how we as Christians are supposed to navigate it. And so without further ado, like, comment, share, and do all the things. And I pray to be seeing you in the next one. Yeah. We're done. Bye.